Record to the cloud.
All right. Welcome to the Divinely You podcast. Welcome to Saradivinelyyou on YouTube. Did anyone else notice the energy shift this weekend? Like, it was powerful. Like, just a lot of like light, like, well, I don't want to say lighthearted, but it seems like like a lot of folks experienced a shift in like what they observed in other people. We definitely have like something going on with this truckers convoy in Canada. And there was a lot of astrologers, including Leo King and Molly McCord doing, oh my God, that gave me chills. That was so cool. I was literally listening to Molly McCord and shift like transition to Leo King. So I still listen to both. But anyway, I just thought that was pretty magical to see both of my favorite astrologers chatting together. So anyway, I was super excited about that. And then I texted like a handful of people, like, did anybody notice this weekend the shift? Like Venus went direct and like just a lot of things changed. People's attitudes, I did hear back from some folks that their attitudes had changed. A lot of people are feeling like flooded with like ideas or like spiritual direction and things like that. So that's part of the reason for the detox. My digital detox is just feeling a lot of ideas that I want to take some action on and need a little less distraction, especially Instagram reels and stories. I'm a little addicted. Kind of need to break up with that a little bit and break up the because I've been doing a lot of sitting in quiet and journaling, and I really want to take some action. So, but what I really want to talk about today is one of the other things that I have been feeling into for 2022 is mental fatigue. And I've talked about this, maybe not publicly so much, but on the phone with friends and family is mental fatigue. And we've been through a lot collectively and individually over the last couple of years, and that can cause mental fatigue. And mental fatigue can cause, like, have you ever been just mentally tired? Like physically you're fine, like mentally you're just like, I can't anymore. And when we're at the point where we can't anymore and we keep going, that's like can be detrimental, right? That's when we maybe can't process things like we normally do, or maybe we can't operate like we normally do. And so as this year is kind of unfolding, like what I tapped into was this could be like a mental toughness year, and like taking care of each other and reaching out for support. So let's take a look at the slide that I have and kind of dive into this a little bit.
Apps, react, stop, pause, record, multiple share screen button. Desktop 11 items selected. Interact, basic.
Oops.
Your stop it, sharing screen list box. In Keynote, PA for live 1 item selected. Shares button, optimum share, Keynote. You have started screen share. Zoom.us Keynote. PA for live window title play slideshow.
All right, so I titled the slide "Getting Support," but let's talk about a few different words here. We have dependent, independent, and interdependent. And so dependent is when we are reliant on someone else completely. Independent is when you are self-reliant, and then interdependent is when we rely on each other. And I really want to talk about interdependent mostly because to me, like part of my work has been allowing and receiving support from other people, right? Every transition that I've made from, like, when I lived in Chicago, I was very independent. I was very self-reliant. I, got everywhere by myself. I, did all of my own everything, right? And pretty similar when I lived in California briefly, I was pretty independent, traveling there, being there and whatnot. And then, but Arizona has been a little different in that I do need extra support because the transit's not as elaborate here as it's been in other places that I've lived, and it gets dangerously hot. So in Chicago, it gets dangerously cold, which is great. You can layer up, blah, blah, blah. You can only take so many clothes off and be considered legal. But even still, you can dehydrate really quickly, and the sun is definitely not forgiving. And so interdependence has kind of become a way of living for me, in that I can bust a little bit, but it's actually safer to get driven places. Also, there's a lot of traffic accidents here, lots. And drivers aren't necessarily looking for pedestrians here. Whereas when I was in, downtown San Francisco, let's just say, or downtown Chicago, even if drivers weren't looking for pedestrians, there were herds of pedestrians. You couldn't really miss it. Here, that's not the case. Not a lot of people walk in Arizona, so drivers aren't looking for people walking. So that makes a difference too. And mental fatigue does cause drivers to be maybe less alert while they're driving. And of course, maybe they're texting or watching YouTube while they're driving. Please don't watch my videos while you drive, thanks. So it's sometimes it's choosing safety to be interdependent. So I would still consider myself to be very independent, but I would also say I'm interdependent because I do acknowledge that I need more support, in different things. So, and sometimes I have to ask questions to people, like, in different ways than I used to, depending on my interests evolving or whatever. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I feel like that anyway. So when we are ultra independent, that's a term that's kind of been floating around for probably the last 6 months to a year. Ultra independent, like we refuse to rely on anyone besides ourselves because we have to be the one in charge or in control. Okay, this is a trauma response. This is something where some inner work needs to be done to heal some wounds. Because what can happen when we are ultra independent is we can push ourselves way too hard, maybe get physically hurt because we refuse to ask anyone to help us. Let's just say you're lifting, maybe you need to move some furniture and you feel like you have to do this by yourself. Maybe you feel like you're not allowed to ask anyone else. And so you have to do this by yourself. And that can maybe cause you to get injured because you drop the furniture or break the furniture, right? Because if you drop it, you might, like if it's a shelving unit or whatever, I don't know, I'm just coming up with examples for ultra independence. Or you're tired and you feel like you have to do something by yourself because for whatever reason, right? But you push yourself too hard and you're tired and your fatigue can get the better of you and cause an accident, cause of this, cause of that. Because you're so insistent that you have to do it yourself. Okay, you don't have to. So receiving and allowing support for me has been pretty challenging. I led a pretty independent, self-sufficient, self-reliable life. I complained about it for a lot of years, and actually wanted support and help, but didn't get it. And then I would this was like a pain point for me for many years. And so then I kind of got to the point where I appreciated my independence and appreciated my own self-reliability. But let's be real, I don't need to be carrying a backpack, a heavy backpack. That was my big thing for a lot of years, was I would carry a super heavy backpack. I've pretty much put the backpack down. I still use it, but it does not, especially when I was in California, it does not weigh as much as it did in California, or even as I was in Chicago. I I think there were times I carried a piece of luggage because my activities required so much stuff. And I was just determined to do all of the things. So we can get to the point where we're so independent and so self-reliant that it's harmful. And instead of asking for help and being interdependent, and allowing ourselves to receive support. When we open ourselves up to receive support from whoever or whatever, it's an opportunity to experience kindness. It's an opportunity to experience heart, love from other people. And it's an opportunity to learn that life doesn't have to be challenging, struggling, hard, all of those things. And we find ourselves right now in a place where we don't know what that's like collectively. A lot of people don't know what it's like for life to not be hard or not be a struggle or whatever. And I feel like one of the things that's going to shift in 2022, and even in this just stretch of time, doesn't even have to be this year, but just this stretch of time, is many of us opening up to the idea that we're allowed to be supported, that we're allowed to be taken care of, loved, and appreciated as human in this life. I hope this resonates. I feel like a lot of people want to just be self-reliant and don't want to rely on others. But there is something in it to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to having others be there for you. And there are definitely people out there who want to be there for you for their own wins and their own gains. And I'd like to invite you to trust your gut, to know the difference. Because you'll know. You'll know who's in it to support you from their heart versus support you for their own personal gain. You'll know. So, and if you really do need support, like if you need to talk to someone, there's people available. We all have somebody that we can call or text or whatever and say, hey, I just need somebody to hear me right now. Because with mental fatigue comes, I don't want to say mental illness, but like depression, sadness, all of those types of things. And this can be a really trying time for a lot of people. So I see people in various Facebook groups reaching out all the time to the group saying, hey, I just need somebody to talk to. And there's usually somebody who will DM them. I've never really been one of the people who's DM'd people, but I definitely check in on those people with the group moderators, just to say, hey, did somebody talk to this guy? Because maybe he's not okay. So if you are feeling like this is an area where you want some support to do some work, where you really want to open yourself up to receiving or allowing support in whatever capacity, I'd like to invite you to give me a ring, give me a holler, and let's set up a one-to-one and chat about it. Because for me, this is a lesson that I spent some time on. I just felt like I had to do everything myself, and I've come to the conclusion that I don't have to, and that it's okay to ask for help and support and to allow other people to be there for me. So anyway.
PA for live. When zoomed out, move focus to next window. Your image. You image. Stop share button. You have a stop screen share.
So I want to thank you for tuning in. As I always say, I know there's plenty of videos and podcasts and Facebook Lives that you can be watching, and that you're taking the opportunity to listen to me. I'm thankful for that. And thankful for your subscriptions to my YouTube channel, to the podcast, for following and all of that. I look forward to hearing any feedback you have. You can put feedback in the comments. You can email me, secwcoaching@gmail.com. and all of that. And so I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a little different. I have some surprises for February. So we'll see how February goes, but February, birthday month. I'm a little partial. Can you tell? Okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully you got something from this. And if you did, I would love to hear what you got from it and all that. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Stop recording now and